Hello. I'm back. Colt from Spit and Tax Upholstery, Spokane, Washington, out here in Airway Heights. So here we go. Going. You're gonna need some scissors, a marker. The marker you use depends on the color of vinyl that you are cutting, I think. You're cutting a white piece of white vinyl, don't go using no black Sharpie, okay? Just in case you go outside the lines and you cut something, that might bleed through and show through eventually. Don't take the chance, who knows? So either go with a yellow. Yellow's neutral. It'll never show up on anything, ever. You know, you don't gotta just dig into, trace it lightly. Or the rusty, trusty American pencil. Yeah. And then, boy, I like the 7280, the Wiss. Ooh, and you just, oh, I tell you, that's a handsome piece of machinery. Who came up with that? That's fantastic. Tracing, coming back to tracing. Okay, I talked about, for instance, this. We have one main body, and then we have two gussets on each end, two bolsters, if you will. I picked the best one, like I mentioned in the previous video, and then we're going to trace that one and then fold it over to where the good side's up, okay? And that'll give us a mirror image for the left. But we're going to use that pattern. This one here, we have, I like it, other than we're going to, where it wraps around and staples to the frame, I just like to draw a straight line. So this is nothing. When you see this, and this is all how they trimmed it to fit underneath. And then they put that fire wall insulation on it. So don't be confused by these little jockeys that we have here. So what you do when you do this, a big elongated piece like this, get it flat. Of course, you ironed it, both sides. Make sure there's no mars on the fabric underneath. Over here, there was one, so I drew a line and I did a witness mark there. So I know that there's nothing underneath of there for the good side of this vinyl. It's all good, and I washed my table. I paint my tables with a slate gray that's water soluble. You go putting degreaser on that to get off some glue or something, it's gonna come up. I put stuff down to prevent glue from hitting my tables. Just water, spray bottle, boom, 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 paper towel, whop, 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 wipe it all down first. No matter what, prep your area. Wash your table, make sure it's clean, all right? Everything's flat. There's no mars on the vinyl that you're using or the fabric that you're using. Lay it out good side down because we're tracing. So the patterns are good side down. You follow? Stage them out. I always try to get maximum usage out of my material. That's why it's called a yard. You buy it by the yard. Well, and yards are expensive. So I'm going the length, not the width. So I took the length, I come right down here to the bottom. I don't know if you can see it from there. You could zoom in probably later. But I just come up about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. It's not a big deal because these ends, or these edges staple, they come around. The key components are the ends, okay? Where these gussets, you sew them on. So for right now, we got it laid out. We're just up from the bottom. Factory edge, that's something that you want to consider if you're doing fabrics. Make sure that you follow a factory edge and you know what a factory edge is, okay? And then there's nap. Make sure when you unroll fabric that you know which side or which way the nap lays. Has to come down a chair to the floor and then down the sides of the chair and then down the back, like when you rub your hand on it. If it's furring up and feeling resistance, it's backwards. It has to just be smooth. That's another video from another day. Okay, so right now, I just grabbed my ruler. Initially, I'm going to use, I just showed you both, the pencil, and I prefer this. So, you have some floating rulers. I have just a yardstick, metal ruler, and then I have this, okay? 18-inch by, what is that, 3-inch? And then I have this contour. Have these. You're going to need them because you can lay them on and slide up into things like this. See this? I lay it right and gentle, and I come down up to that edge, come up to this edge, and then push it down. Okay? And then I can come around, and then I'll stop, and then I'll come back into the field, and then I'll come back into that. Careful not to move anything. And you'll see, you'll know, your eye will know a perfect contour. You know what I mean? It rounds out. Don't let the pattern fool you. Sometimes you have to adjust. Sometimes following the pattern in those little tiny instances isn't better. You know what it looks like. Get as close as you can to it, but make sure that it flows. Zoo, zoo, like we're doing right here. This is a perfect example. It's kind of boogered up on the edge, but I can come and look down at it and know that I can come down here, stay right on the pattern, come around. There's another cut that he did to make it lay flat. I adjust for that cut, 1/16 of an inch up. Make sure it's flat always. And then I'll just walk around my pattern, okay? And these are tapered, okay? They come out and then taper up like a calligraphy pen. So make sure that that is flat and the taper tip is facing away as you trace. It's helpful. Okay, so now we come to this edge. I can see that one's good. And I'm adjusting again for that roundness. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Your eye will tell you what it's supposed to look like. Look how it's laying. Look what it, before you tear it apart, take a picture of it. Look what it looks like. You're going to understand these contours. And then you'll adjust with your knife, your scissor. When you come around that, you'll know. When you trace it, you'll give it that. You know, a corner doesn't go like this. You know, it doesn't squiggle. And it doesn't come in short and then come back and then go round. You know what I mean? You know what a concave is. You know what, you know, inverted swooshes look like. You know what you're doing. You're looking at your piece, most of all. You're looking at the piece that you're working on. So when you're tracing, always adapt. Look beyond that little dog ear and just keep pushing straight. And then bam. Because you know what it is. It has to be a mirror image. Little things like that. Okay, now my tip faces away from me. These are important things. This will help you trace your pattern better if you know the tip of a pin. They make it that way for a reason. It's not just a flat bottom, okay? It comes down longer and comes up. See that? Well, you all know what these look like, these Sharpies, highlighters. They dive down and then they come back at an angle like a knife edge. Use that knife edge correctly. Use that tip. Always when you're tracing out, and then when you're coming back, roll your pen, come back with the tip away from you, and trace around, like I just did. These are tools. Yes, they might be a pen to someone, but this is a tool. You're going to see it in the end. If you do this enough, you're going to be like, God, that crazy dude was right. Okay, so all this stuff right here, don't even worry about that. That's why I brought it up 1/16 of an inch from the factory edge, and I'm just going to keep pushing. I'll trim that out later if I want to. I might not want to. I might just wrap it around, staple it, put the firewall on top of it. Who knows? Anyway, so she's laying flat. She's traced out nice. Good, good, good. I'm going to come down to this end. I'm going to come up a little long. And when you come up long, lay a horizontal line so you can put a witness mark. And then you'll go, why is there a witness mark? You know, you're in the heat of it and you're doing all this. And when the pattern comes short and you can see where they cut it, elongate it, but keep the contour like right here on this end. We go from a 1/2 inch right here at 8 1/2 inch. You got to adjust. This is where you got to go out on a limb and know that that's supposed to be a 1/2 inch even. But you can see the stitch marks when you were rounding a corner. And if it comes right close to the stitch marks, adjust on your pattern as you trace and give it that 1/2 inch. You'll know what I mean once you start doing it, because you'll see the rest of the pattern. You're like, oh, look, okay, there, this isn't a, you know, yeah, this guy cut it so it would lay better. Sometimes you do have to do that. A lot of times you do. But don't do it if you have a top stitch that you're going to use, and try to keep the, okay, you're coming around a corner. Instead of cutting off that salvage, the salvage is the sew allowance. Instead of cutting it off close to the stitch, just relief cut it. Snip, snip, snip. If it comes around, snip, 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 snip. And then it'll feather out and it'll lay. Okay? And if it's real thin, then you might have to trim some of that up. But relief cut it first, you know, and always leave yourself a 1/4 inch, a true fat 1/4 inch, if you're going to do that, and relief cut up to that 1/4 inch before that stitch. Some people are venomous about that. No, don't do that. Some people are like, yeah, get in where you fit in. It's got to look right. Yes, it does have to look right, but don't compromise the integrity of the piece. Okay. So anyway, we have both ends traced out. We came right down to the wall. Bam. Okay. This wraps around underneath, so don't be concerned with that. These are tricky. You'll understand more. You'll realize, oh, well, okay. Just follow your pattern to where the stitch stops, and then do an outside mark. That's a witness mark that you're going to cut once you trace the pattern out. And then it'll make sense once you start sewing it together. You'll go, oh, yeah, cool. This is all hidden anyway. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we're learning here today. And this is quick and pretty straightforward. So we came up to there. Okay, so when you got these dog ears like this, I myself like to come in from the outside. I'll match up to where I left off, and then I'll bring it down. And I'll let my eye tell me where I'm at, okay? And then I'll come up a little long. Yeah. Make sure your pin's pointed the right way. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Don't overthink it. And like I say, when you panic, always step back and go, what am I doing? And then you'll realize, okay, I'm doing a seat. And you'll start laughing because it's a seat. Yes, there are technical aspects to everything that we do in upholstery, but these things help you rein yourself back in to where you're like, I'm not building a rocket to go to Mars. I'm building a seat, and it has to be correct, and it has to be square, and I have to follow all these geometric patterns. And sometimes I have to adapt and add a little bit to a pattern because my eye tells me that that ain't right. Think like that, and you'll walk through this like nothing. Just like, you know, drinking Dr. Pepper in the afternoon when you got ribs on the barbecue. I love Dr. Pepper. Such a good pop. Cream soda Dr. Pepper, by the way. That was, you know, I think a chariot from heaven brought that one day when I wasn't looking. So we got it traced out. These little dog ears, don't worry about them. Like I said, that might have been just a preference for the last upholsterer that used automotive upholstery on a marine application. Sorry, Ron. He's going to be pissed about that. God, why do people do that? Yeah, it's crazy. So if you buy a brand new boat, hey man, take off one of your small seats, rip the back off, pull it up, and get a look at it. It will betray itself very quickly if it is marine upholstery or not. And this is not. I didn't do this. I'm just fixing this. But, yeah. He didn't buy it new from the factory. He bought it from another person. But I just, you know, you'd be surprised how much that happens in all kinds of industries. You think you're paying for something, but you're not. You know, but here in Spit and Tax Upholstery, this is artisan. Artisan, one man, me. I'm the only person that touches this, not 5 novices, you know. And a lot of upholstery shops will do that.